Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Be Inspired. It is a podcast brought to you by Blue Balloon Theatre, and this one is a very, very special one indeed. I am joined by the wonderful Leon Craig, and we're going to be chatting all things creative and just all things performance based, and hopefully you'll walk away feeling really inspired. Leon, hey.
Hello. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, not too bad.
Good. So I feel like the best place to start would be, let's chat about you as a person, as a creative. What is it you do? And in this creative industry, sort of where do you fit? Where would you say that you fit?
So I guess really I kind of, I want to say, if I say artist, I think that covers a lot of things, but I would say more an artist, a performer. I've been very lucky for kind of the last 17 years of doing lots of musicals, whether it's been the West End or tour or arenas or wherever, lots of theatre. And I've just really, really love what I do. I'm from Salford, good old Salford boy in the northwest, or I might say Manchester. People might find Manchester more easier. People go, "Where's Salford?" Or they say, "Is it Salford?" Don't they? They always say it. Is it Salford? Salford Quays, is it? And they're like, they just never have a clue to it, but it's fine. I feel like, I guess in regards to the majority of stuff that I do, I tend to do more like the kind of caricature roles, like the big glitzy glamour roles, which I love to do, of course. But yeah, it's always the more character roles that I love to do. You know, I wouldn't be the type of person you would see in like West Side Story as like Tony or anything like that. You would see me probably more like Anita or something. Just the more bigger roles that you get to have more fun with, and you know, things like that. So yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. And when did you discover that you wanted to do this as a profession? Like, was there a moment for you where you went, you know, this is it, this is what I want to do as a career?
Do you know what? Do you know what? I really can't think back. I'm so old now, so I can't think back. But like, I think that's the COVID. It's just completely not my mind. But I think, you know what? I think when I was at school, when I was at like primary school, I would like, my mum was like, do the nativity play, just have a bit of fun, kind of doing all that stuff. And then I think later on, I went to high school and I started to realize that I could sing, because mum was like, you've always liked to sing around the house. And I never really kind of went, oh, I think I sound good. I mean, I think it was my mum that was like, oh, you do sound like you have a voice. And I was like, okay. So I started to just play on it. And then I went to obviously high school, and then I was really into the drama side of things. I really enjoyed kind of working with people and expressing my feelings, and also, you know, being able to just be creative on that side. And then I started to sing, and the singing teacher there was like, oh, you're really good. Like, you know, you should keep pursuing this. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I think like every character that I did at high school was like always the funny role. So I was always getting the laughs and things. And I was always kind of like the joker and the clown, you know, in the school. And I was like, oh, this is quite fun. Like I enjoy the attention. I enjoy, you know, just having fun and making people laugh and being able to sing. And I thought, oh, and then obviously then I pursued further, and I did like a BTEC, a college in, well, it's called, I think I say Bury, it might be Bury, I don't know, but I say Bury. I did 2 years there, and doing a National Diploma in Performing Arts. And then the teachers there were like, you know, maybe you should consider going to a drama school in London. And I was like, huh? I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, you should pursue it. And so I got like a few prospectuses for a few schools, and then obviously they're so expensive these days. I mean, I'm sure that I went to drama school in 2000 to 2003. So back then, I think it might have been like $7,500 a year, probably per day these days. I have no clue. But like, I auditioned for Guildford, and then I got in and I got a scholarship, and I was like, oh my god, and then just carried on there really.
That's amazing. And how was that process for you? Like, obviously it was a little while ago, and do you feel like the auditions went well for you at that time, or do you feel like it was all a bit new to you? How was the audition process for drama school for you?
You know, it's funny because I think it's changed a lot now.
Yeah.
I think when I was doing it, it was very much like, from what I hear from people now who've recently just been to drama schools, I think it is, when I went, you went on one day and you did a song, and then you did a monologue, and that was it. I think that from what I remember, I think that was it. And I was like, oh, okay. There wasn't. I don't think there was a dance class or anything. But because I have, oh, what do they call it? Like I have like I'm flat-footed, or they used to call it fallen arches or whatever. And I basically then just got a letter a few weeks later saying we'd love to offer you a place at Guildford. We'd like to offer you a scholarship on the basis that you can go to the doctors and make sure that your fallen arches, are okay and stuff. So I went to the doctors like buzzing, like, oh my god, this is exciting, and they were like, yeah, you're fine. So then I sent a letter back, and it was really quick. It was a really quick process. But then now I hear these days you've got to go, and it's like a workshop, and you do this class, and you meet these people, and it was so different, I think, to when I did it. But it was so quick. I can't remember if there was then a recall. There might have been a recall. To maybe do a class. I can't really remember, but it was a very, very quick process in comparison to what is nowadays, where it seems to be like a full-on, like intense 3 or 4, maybe a week. I don't know, but yeah, back then it was quite quick.
Amazing. And so, since your studies at GSA, which is absolutely amazing school to go to, how have you found your career? Because you have done so many different roles. What has been your favorite role to take on?
Oh gosh, I've been so lucky enough to play some really great roles. I think I really enjoyed my first job at a drama school, and that was playing a character called Montel / Diaper Man / Jesus in a musical called Jerry Springer the Opera, which I did at the Cambridge in the West End, the Cambridge Theatre, and that was a really fun show. And I think I was excited by that because also walking into a show and being 21 years old, and I was like, oh my God, I'm really lucky that I've gone into a Western musical playing one of the leads, and also going in and seeing a few of your kind of idols as well. You're like, oh, there's Alison Jai who's playing the pole dancer, and here's this character, and this guy's off the TV and he's played this character for years, and you kind of like, it's quite daunting, but I really enjoyed that, and I learned a lot on that show. And I think because it's a very controversial musical as well, I had to kind of learn all the stuff on that as well. And but do you know what, I put my head down and I worked really, really hard, because you obviously go to drama school and it's like driving lessons really. You can learn, but they say the only best time you will learn is when you're actually out on the road. And it's actually like when you're out of drama school, that's when you're going to start to, they can only teach you so much at drama school, but then when you're actually out on a job, that's when you start to learn everything. Yeah. But say Jerry Springer the Opera, but then obviously I did Aladdin in the West End, and that was really fun for Disney. And I was a character called Babcock, and I got to cover the genie as well. I was standby genie, and that was just on another level as well. Actually, weirdly enough, it came up on my social media the other day. I think it was 5 years ago the other day, we first started rehearsals, and I'm like, where has my life gone? Where has my life? I know. But that was just, again, another level. It was a big show. It was massive. I did it for 3.5 years in the West End from beginning to end, and I got to go in for the genie, like, oh my God, so many times. And it was just a really out of the world experience. It was just so much fun. And yeah, so I'd say probably there, but I don't know, because I think there's a little story behind each role. There's so many, but for me, there are two that I really love to do. But Jerry Springer was just on another level. It was so different and so fun.
Yeah. So, you've kind of inspired me to ask, do you prefer the quirkier, big sort of glitzy roles? You kind of said it at the start, those are the roles that you take on, but do you think those are the roles that you're more drawn to, or how do you feel now? Do you feel like you'd like to move into more gritty roles? What do you think?
You know what, I guess I've been pigeonholed a little bit, and I think a lot of actors it happens to, can be a great thing, but sometimes it can't be a great thing. But I guess when your CV starts to build up of the character roles, it's great. And I've obviously had that with my agents and stuff, and that you become, and I guess it's been good originally because you start to do one character role and you go to another character role, but then each character role is very different, I guess, to obviously each role that you do. They're all very different. I do enjoy doing the glitzy, glamorous roles, of course, as well. But then I've done a couple of roles where it's very like completely scraped back, and it's quite a big character role, but it's the total opposite end. But then I would love to say, I would love to do a role that's like just the total opposite to me, that's quite gritty, that's quite the total opposite. That's a massive challenge for me. And when I say it could be something like, I don't know if I'm allowed to even use this word, like a psychopath, or someone who's just a little bit, just the total opposite to what I do. But then still, when I say, I guess when I use the word character, I mean just more something you can just do more, that's a bit more over the top. So I guess, with something like, I guess you can use a psychopath, I'm sorry if you can't use that word, but with something like that, or someone who's just a little bit out there and a bit different, but not on the scale of being glitzy and glamorous and full of glitter and stuff, which Aladdin was. Do you know,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
Right.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. And in terms of your relationships that you've had with your various agents that you've had over the years, is there any sort of advice that you would give to people maybe just entering this industry, maybe people that have, you know, they might be thinking, oh, I need a change, that kind of thing? Is there anything that you would advise? Because I mean, we kind of talked about this before the podcast started. It's a weird thing having to change an agent or get a new agent when you've never had one before.
Absolutely. I think when you look for an agent, I think you've got to remember that, and I forget this sometimes, and I think everybody forgets it, but I think certainly when you're looking for an agent, you want to go with someone, you've got to do your research. You've got to go on their books and look at them. If you're an actor or an actress, you go on and look and go, okay, is there anyone on their books that looks like me? No, there isn't. Okay, that's a good thing. If there is someone similar to you, look, what have they done? You know, have a look. Oh, okay, they've done this musical or they've done this TV show. What year have they done it? Oh, okay, so they've been in work recently, because it's really important. It's all well and good seeing a Spotlight CV or an agent or the Spotlight, I guess, on their agency website, and it does say, oh, they've been in Doctors, they've been in Les Mis, they've been in this, they've done this, but it could have been like 1994, and you think, oh, so have they worked? Is that the last time they've worked, or have they been out of work because they've had family commitments, or they've got married, or they've had a baby, or whatever? So you've got to look into that. I think sometimes as well, it's really good when including research, like when you go onto an agency's website, see as well if like some agencies have like their own specific blog about themselves. I think it's really important to see what their background is. Was they a performer? Have they trained before? Did they go to university or a drama school? Were they an actress, or were they a lawyer, or were they a doctor, or whatever? I'm sure it'll tell you a bit about them. So I think it's really important as well. And just finding out as much information about each agency that you go to. Some agents may not put anything down about themselves, but I think it's really important to kind of look to see if there is anyone on their books that looks like you, because you don't kind of want to go on there and there's 10 people that look like you, because if you do get represented by them, you're going to go in and compete with them 10 people, and they might have more experience than you, or, you know, sometimes the agent might not put you forward and might put the other 8 forward, because they're like, actually, the casting director said, oh, we only want to see 8 of your people. And so they might bring them forward because they might have more experience in the TV side or more experience on the musical theatre side. So it is definitely about your research, definitely. And I always used to go and see, I still do when theatres can reopen, to the Palace and the Opera House in Manchester, obviously, and the Royal Exchange, and all. We've got so many amazing theatres, Home and, gosh, Oldham Coliseum. We've got so many amazing, Bolton Octagon in the Northwest. I could go on, the list is endless, and amazing like theatres that when I go and see a show, I always buy a program. People go, oh, why'd you waste your money on them? And I'm like, well, I like to see them. I like to see what the actors, you know, we do look and go, oh, look, that's where they trained. And then I always go home. I used to, certainly when I was younger, I used to go home and spotlight them and go, oh, they're with this agency, and then look on their books. And it does give you an insight to what their agencies are like, you know. So I think definitely it's your research, definitely. And if there are people as well who you know, and even like, you know, if you go to a stage door afterwards and you see the performance, there's no harm in speaking to them, saying, hey, like, you know, I'm getting into the industry, I'm looking for an agent. There is no harm. It's all about speaking out these days. The world is changing in so many ways, and it's about having your own voice and being able to voice things across and to speak up and not be afraid to do so. You know, there's lots of things you can go on to Spotlight, and they have contacts on there for agencies. You can even call Spotlight, I'm sure, and say, you know, I'm getting into the business, I don't have an agent, what do you recommend? There's so many things that you can do. There's open calls, there's people that do generals, social media, there's so many agents there that will kind of go, oh, you know, my books are open at the moment, send over your CV. And some people go, oh my God, I don't have anything on my books. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't have any work on my CV. It doesn't matter, because the agent might suddenly see and go, oh, actually, he or she looks really good. They're perfect for the website. They're perfect to be on my books, to be represented. So send your stuff in. And, you know, and I think some people as well also think, oh, I have to go with the biggest agents in the world. Sometimes that doesn't have to be the case. Like, if you go with the boutique agency, that's great, because so long as they can get you in for the contacts, whether it be theatre, TV, or everything, then that's all that you need at the end of the day. You need someone who's going to work with you, because they are really your first point of call to the industry, really, you know. But you need to also, when you do meet them, just you know, they work for you. you know, you work together, but they work for you, and you forget that sometimes. I forget that. And, I've been in the business now 17 years. And I remember, like, when I was with my first agent, I used to be quite nervous of what do I say? I'm really nervous to speak to the agent. And today, and I used to write it down on a piece of paper. And I'd be like, hi, yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Yeah, so basically. And I'd be like, oh, sorry. And I was thinking, why am I saying sorry? But I guess it's stuff that you learn over the years. You start to figure stuff out. And then, sometimes I think to myself, I could be on the phone to my agent and whatever, and my friend might be with me, but like, God, you sound like a diva. And I'm like, no, it's not being a diva. It's just certain ways of how you talk about things, and you do build that confidence and the professionalism and stuff like that. But I think it is, I think there's so many ways you can do it, but it's research. It's definitely research. Definitely research.
Yeah, definitely. That's something that I found when I was still at drama school when I was first looking at agents, and I was like, right, we've got our showcase coming up, like I need to look at agents and do my research, as you said. And it was looking at the kind of things that they cast for, and I was like, oh, that doesn't really align with what I want to do. So it's just little things like that you pick up as you sifting through all these agencies, and you sort of figure out the ones that you really like. I think that's great advice, really great advice. Something that I was really keen to ask you was, do you have any sort of rehearsal or audition stories that have been disastrous, or likewise, have they been really, really good where you've come out feeling really like positive?
You know what? Gosh, there's probably so many. I'm trying to think. Years ago, I was in for Les Mis, and I remember saying, my agent called me. I was with a different agent many years ago. They called me in for Les Mis, and I said to my agent, "Oh, I don't think I'm right for Les Mis," and he was like, "Go anyway." And I was obviously like, in my 20s then, and I said, "Yeah, sure, okay." Anyway, I went and I had a conjunctivitis that day. My eye was so sore, and I was constantly rubbing my eye. And I remember getting on the tube in London and came from Manchester, got on a Virgin train from London Euston when they were Virgin trains, and you sit there, and I was just constantly rubbing my eyes. And I got to Euston Station, and as you do, you go to the bathroom, just check yourself, you're all right. And my eye was like out here, and I was like, oh no, I was like, I have to go into an audition, and I'm so embarrassed. Thankfully, I had to go to a shop and buy a pair of sunglasses. And I walked in, and I remember my audition as well, because I had to go smart dressed. I had a scarf, so I wrapped my scarf around me, walking in with sunglasses, thinking I was God and bloody Glenn Close from, I thought, how embarrassing. And I walked in, and I kept my glasses on. I said to the runner when I got there, listen, this is the situation. If you can explain it to them, I'd appreciate it. And I walked in, and it was just, everything was, and I think because I was so bothered about that, I dropped my music everywhere, and it was at the stage at the theatre, the Palace Theatre back in the day, and it was just, oh God, I was all over the place. And they were like, oh, it's fine, take your glasses off. And I was like, oh, I'd rather not, please. It's like the moment in RuPaul's Drag Race where, is it Valencia, where she's got the mask on, they're like, take off your mask. And she's like, I'd rather not. And they're like, I said, take off your mask. And it's like, oh. And it's like, taking it off really slowly, and they're like, and they were just like, oh my God. And it was just, that was just horrific. That was horrific. But, do you know what I used to do actually when I was younger? When I used to take a dictaphone into my auditions with me. I used to put it in my bag and have it on record. And I'd leave it in my bag at the side next to the pianist going, hi, how are you? All that stuff, do your audition. And then I'd leave, and then I'd get on the train and I'd listen to it back. And I'd write notes, silly as it sounds, I'd write notes, oh, they sounded positive when they said that, and I think my voice was right, and I was in key here, and I did this really well, and the actor was really good reading with me, blah, blah, blah. But then nowadays, like, you can't do that, because you can overthink. There are so many scenarios you put in your brain, and that's something that I had to learn to say to myself, you know what, go in, do the best that you can do, and if you get a recall or you get the job, amazing. If you don't, you have to just go, it wasn't meant to be, and you have to just move on, because honestly, your head, even now, I've got friends that talk to me, even at my age or a bit younger, and go, oh my God, I've just been in for this show today, and like, I did this, and then, I think it really went, it went really well, and the casting director said, oh, are you free these dates? And then they're like, yeah, and then they come out and they think, oh my God, it's a positive thing, and then they don't get the job. And they're like, well, why didn't I get it? What did I do wrong? And I'm like, you didn't do anything wrong, you just don't know what the scenario is. You can ask your agent for feedback, I guess, and say, what was the reason why? Otherwise, because your head will just explode, and that's something you have to go, I can't do that. But I think for me, like, I go in, I do an audition, And I think to myself, again, just make sure you're prepped, you know, your stuff inside out, back to front. Make sure you know what this, you know, if you're in for a musical and it's like, okay, I need to know who the lyricists are. Just make sure you know a little bit about them, because they can put you on the spot and say, oh, do you know much about this lyricist? You go, yeah, they did this, 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 and this. And it's just good. And also it brings a bit of personality for you as well. And, you know, I find it really bizarre. I've been on panels and I find it really interesting when people walk into a room and they get that they're nervous a little bit. Sometimes I'm saying the stupidest of things. Sometimes I've took my shoes off in auditions. I'm like, I'm taking my shoes off, I want to be more grounded. I don't know why I've said that. I'm like, what on earth? And I'm sat there in, you know, I'm stood there in a London studio barefoot trying to think that was a funny thing. And they've laughed and they've said, oh, you know, but it brought a bit of personality across. Leo might have been nervous back in the day then, which I still get nerves, of course, we all do, but I figure out ways to channel a different energy. But, you know, it's quite, yeah. But I think for me, I just kind of come out and go, you know what? If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I think with something like Aladdin, I was in and out so much, but every audition I'll come out and I think, you know what, I've done really well. I prepped everything. And, you know, I was very lucky that I got the job. And I remember my agent calling me and saying, yeah, you're back in next week. And I was thinking, oh, and it gets you excited, because then you start to say to yourself, as you get closer and closer, we do this thing. I'm sure every actor probably, or whoever will listen to this as well, will go, yeah. When you get an audition and you get closer, you start thinking, God, it'd be great because I get this money so I can buy this and I can go on holiday and I can do this and I can put money away for a house and you start making a list of all these things, which is great, and you put it out there in the universe. I think that's an amazing thing to do. What you do, you start to get really, really excited. And I understand it's that's life, we do, and I think it's great to put that positivity out there and to get really excited about going for these jobs and going in there, but certainly put your personality across. It's really important to have your personality. It's not like the X Factor, I guess, when it's like stand on this cross back in the day and like sing your song, okay, thanks, bye, walk out, and be like, well, they had a great voice, but I couldn't really tell you like 3 things about them, you know, and the scene could be empty or it could be full of whatever, but it's like, well, I don't know anything about them, you know. But yeah, I think it's just about, I think I've had some auditions where I come out nowadays, I just go, you know what, it was great, I'm happy with it. If I get it, I'll get a recall, fantastic. If I want feedback, I'll ask my agent. And yeah, I think I've had a couple of probably crazy auditions where I walked out being, oh my God, what has just happened? But weirdly enough, they're probably the ones also, you get the call and they go, you're back in next week. And you're like, are you joking? I had an audition for a commercial many years ago for something, and it was for a football commercial. And as we know, I don't play football. So I went in for it, and my agent said, oh, you've got to go in and they want you to wear tight clothing. They're looking for a guy of a bigger size. I went, okay. And I got there and I walked in there. The woman said to me on the casting, she said, so basically, we want you to basically squirt some cream in your mouth. Like, you know, the squirty cream you can get. And I said, oh, right, okay. And they had squirted cream there. So she said, oh, we'll just do it a few takes. And I was like, okay. Anyway, I did it a few takes and I was thinking, I feel sick. Because obviously I kept swallowing it and be like, yeah, sure, should we do it again? Yeah, no problem. You know, yes, be the yes man, of course. Squirt, cream, squirt. And I was thinking, I feel sick. I can't do any more of this. And then in the end, I thought to myself, I ain't going to get this job. I was like, they're looking for a guy who plays football, who does this squirty cream advert. And I was just like, anyway, I left the audition and I called my agent, as we do. And I said, oh my God, I went in there, I had all these tight clothes and it was the hottest day of the year. They had 20 million lights in the studio. And I had to squirt this cream like 4 or 5 times on my mouth. I felt sick, it ended up all over my top. Wasn't the best experience in my life. I was like, anyway, I said, oh my God, imagine. And my agent went, yeah, imagine. Next thing I got a call later, you've got the job. And I was like, are you joking? When I had to do it, it was filmed in this football stadium in London. I think it was Leytonstone Football Stadium. And they hired all these extras to be in this. I was the featured artist in the one of them, and they hired all these extras to be in the stadium. So I don't know what the word is because I don't know football. But I had to they had all these extras in the stadium. And basically what it is, it was for, I can't remember what advert it was for. And basically, they said to me, what we want you to do is imagine it's half time and then all the footballers go to pick up a bottle of water and then you just pick up the squirted cream and squirt cream in your mouth. And I was like, but anyway, this was the hottest day of the year. It was absolutely baking. It took about 6 hours to film this. I remember at one point they said to me, oh, we need to look like you're sweating. So instead of spraying glycerine on your face from the makeup department, can you run around the pitch a few times? And I was like, what? I was like, oh, okay, oh God. And I was like, sure. So I did that and I was shattered. I was like, I can't even deal with this. And they had a couple of people who could play football on the pitch as well. And I was just thinking, this is not for me at all. I was like, this is really, but it was a really great thing actually. And in the end, they said to me, I had loads of different football shirts. And they kept spraying me with glycerine after a while. And they said to me, let's try with squirted cream. I did a few times with squirted cream. Oh, let's try now with ice cream. Oh, well, now let's try with a sundae. And I was trying all these different desserts. And I felt so being in a really hot environment, you know, you want like not square to cream because it was quite warm. You know, ice cream was probably the nicest thing to have because it kept me a bit cool. But I was just sweating. I was thinking, oh my God. But that was a really fun thing to do. I don't know why I've just gone into that. I do a waffle sometimes, but that was a really fun thing. But yeah, like you say, some of those things you can go in for and you think, I've not got it, and you do get it. And some, you know, but just go in with a positive attitude and walk out and go, I've done it. That's all I can do. Let's put it away. Let's wait and see what happens. If your agent calls, you get a recall. Amazing. If you get the job, amazing. If you don't, it really isn't meant to be, and you go, fine. And also, if it's a casting director you haven't met before, at least you've been in and met them, because then after that, you'd be surprised then to be called back and you'd be like, oh, I didn't get that job. Oh, actually, well, hold on a second. I've met that casting director. Oh, now they call me back into something else, and it's even better. And these people on the panel want you to get these jobs as well. So, you know.
Amazing. No, I completely agree. That's happened to me already, and I've not been doing this for very long at all, in the grand scheme of things. And it's the most humbling thing, isn't it, when you've met a casting director and then they get you back in, either for the same, like a recall for that same job, or for a different job. That's happened to me, and I've been like, oh my God, that's so amazing, the fact that they've thought of me. But yeah, I love that story.
There's probably a lot more. I can't think at the top of my head. I've probably had loads where I've fallen or tripped or spilled my water or had coffee. Yeah, probably.
So doesn't it? It's just a lot of the time it's the adrenaline that you're feeling, and it just sometimes gets the better of us.
I've studied musical theatre auditions sometimes, and I've started singing, and I suddenly put an arm up, and I'm like, "What is this arm for?" And you're like, "Don't need that." And then your lip goes, and you twitch, and your face is half twitching, and you're like, "What is going on?" And you're just like, you just go with it, but you have to just say to yourself, I have to just find some way to just chill out a bit before and just kind of go in there. And but they know you're nervous as well, you know. And I guess for Aladdin as well, I remember going into the final and it was all the Disney team over for America, and there must have been about 30 people on the panel. There were so many people. So when you've gone in and seen like maybe 2 or 3 people and you get used to seeing their faces, you feel a bit more comfortable. Yeah. So suddenly going into the final, where they're very much like the big director takes charge, he's going for America. So the 3 or 4 people that you've seen are on the panel, but it is very much like, okay, let's see what you've got. You do your stuff, and then you're like, oh, it's a bit daunting and stuff. And you see all these people, you have to just go, it's fine. We just get through it, we breathe, and just have fun. And then, you know, and then again, they want you to get the part. So, you know.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's good advice, very good advice. So I'm going to wrap this up very, very soon, because I'm aware that we've chatted about so many different things. But one of the things that I wanted to ask was, how has lockdown been for you? That is a big question, I know, but how has it been? How have you stayed positive in this time and just sort of, I don't know, kept moving forward, I suppose?
Yeah, I think, do you know what? I read an article a while ago, actually. I think we've been in the lockdown for 365 days, and Manchester, I think I've been in it for 300 of those days. And I was like, oh my God. And obviously I've been home. I was in a show in the West End prior to this, and then obviously it finished, and then I came back home thinking I would go back, and then I'd never have. And I think, you know, originally I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll be back in work in 2 weeks. I'll be back in work in 4 weeks. I'll be back in work in 6 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So, you know, we're all normal people at the end of the day. You know, I think it's been a roller coaster of emotions. I've had times where I'm thinking, oh God, I can't bother doing anything today. I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix and eat every piece of rubbish in the fridge or freezer or cupboards, you know. And then I'm like, right, I'm going to go out today, even if it's just for a walk, just to make me feel better, or FaceTime my friends, or sometimes I just chill in my room and stuff. You know, it's an emotional roller coaster. It really has been. I've just had to just figure out things to do. Just to keep myself sane, I guess, because I think a lot of people in this lockdown, especially if you live on your own, I think that's really hard. Obviously, I've been very lucky to come back home to my family home, so seeing my mum a lot more, and my uncle and my nephew as well, which is great because, you know, I guess when you're away, which I've been a lot, and not been back at home for many years, I don't see my nephew grow up. So like now he's just turned 4, so now he's realising who I am more now, and he's like, hi Uncle Leon, let's do this, let's do that. And that's, you know, before he'd look at me like, who is this 6'3" strange guy staring at me every time I come over, you know? And I'm just like, hi, I'm Leon, and he's like, huh? And I'm like, so it's nice to figure out who I am now and stuff, which is really nice. But, you know, different things, reading, speaking with friends, watching loads of Netflix, you know, and Amazon, and like stuff on the BBC and on iPlayer. There's just so many great things. Sometimes it'll be a bit of trashy TV. Sometimes it'll be a really great thing. I've been trying to cook, but I'm not a very good cook at all. Eating a lot. And it's that funny thing, isn't it? You eat a lot and then you're like, oh, it's fine, nothing's going to reopen yet, so I don't need to lose weight. And then suddenly things are opening, you're like, oh no, I need to now start losing weight. And then I'm like, uh-oh. And then I've still got like 20,000 Easter eggs in the cupboard that I still want to eat. So I'm like, how does this work? But it is, I think, it's just, you know, just communicating with your friends still, because everyone's in the same boat. Some people are worse than others, you know. Just try and, I always, on my social media, I always put a thought of the day up every day on my Instagram, on my story. And that doesn't necessarily relate to me every day, but it's something that I'll put out because I feel like it will relate to at least one person, or 50 million people, you never know. And some people do message me back and go like, oh, I really needed this today. And I'm like, oh, and that really makes me smile because I think that's great. And some of them I do put out there and they do relate to me. And I'm like, I'm putting this out there, you know. But yeah, just spending time with family, eating, watching TV, going out for walks, chatting on the phone all the time. I mean, I'm the queen of freaking WhatsApp. I mean, my voice notes back in the day would be like 10 seconds, like, hiya, just seeing how you are. Now they're like 25 minutes long. And people have said to me, hi Leon, I've had to get a piece of paper and a pen and make pointers. And I'm like, oh, sorry. And then I start again, and then I'm like, shut up. And then I'm like, just get off the phone, Leon. And then sometimes, you know, do you know that thing on WhatsApp where you like send a message and then someone calls you and it cuts off the message, and then you go back on, and then I've sometimes pressed the bin to delete it, and I'm like, oh, got to start again. Or I'll send that bit and then I'm like, where am I up to? And I'm like, listen, I don't know what I was saying, but, you know, anyway, hope you're good, I'll speak to you in a bit, blah, 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 you know. But yeah, I think my family have kept me really sane, to be honest, in this, and just my friends. I've loved being back home in the Northwest. You know, I've loved being home, and the North's so mad, isn't it? It's so great. There's so many wonderful people here, and you go on the streets, everyone's like, hi, how are you? And like, I've just missed that. I've missed a lot of the North. I don't get to spend a lot of time here, so being back here for the last year has just been an absolute blessing. I've loved it. So yeah, just trying to keep positive, but like you say, having them days where I felt like absolute rubbish, I don't want to do anything, but it's all right to have them days. You're allowed to. And then people start going, oh my God, I'm having a bad day today. Oh God, what's wrong with me? And I'm like, nothing's wrong with you. You're just having them days where you just feel a bit rubbish, and you're allowed to go, that's okay. I'm just going to sit and embrace that day and eat rubbish and watch telly and get out of bed, and then maybe get back in bed, and then get out of bed, and then get back in bed, and then maybe stay in bed all day. God, we all do it, and it's allowed. You're only human. You can do it. You just have to then say to yourself after a while, right, I can't keep doing this. I have to get out of bed. I have to go out, even if today's just for an hour's walk, or I have to get on the phone and speak to a couple of people, or I'm going to just pamper myself, put a face mask on, do a hair mask, have a nice hot bath, and watch some Netflix in the bath. Or, you know, I'm just going to go wherever. I'm going to go for a drive if I've got a car, or I'm just going to get on the bus and just go for a, you know, something just to get back out there and stuff. And hopefully now things are starting to ease up, the lockdown's starting to ease off, and God forbid we don't go back into a lockdown. And we just, you know, we just have to start getting back into the world again and start, and it's quite daunting as well, because, you know, I still go out obviously and wear a mask in the shops and sanitize and keep my distance, and it's that frustrating thing. You go into the shops and you're waiting to be served, and there's someone behind you like really close, and you're like, and I said it, I've been like, you're a bit close, move back, you're not 2 meters, you know. And like people forget that as well and stuff, but let's just hope that, you know, we're going the right way. I keep seeing on social media that theatres are opening and this is going on and that's going on and outdoor events are happening, and we're getting into summer as well, which is great. And I know everyone's desperate to get to beer gardens and do that. Just go and enjoy yourself, but just stay safe, you know, because the last thing we want to do is go into a lockdown at Christmas, and, you know, I would hate that, God forbid. I think everyone would hate it. I don't think I could cope with another lockdown, but yeah, we'll have to follow the rules, stick by them, but still have fun and just keep that positive energy. So
definitely. What a lovely way to end this. That was like inspirational talk. I always love your thought of the day on social media. I always look at them and I always think, I really like that. Just the fact that you put them out every day, and like you say, sometimes it isn't always for you. It's just for whoever needs it, and that's such a nice thing to do. Speaking of social media, where can we find you if we want to go and follow you?
Oh gosh, now I can't remember what I am. I am on Twitter. I think it's Leon Craig 1. And then I think on Instagram it's Leon Craig Official. It sounds very posh, right? I know. But I think, yeah, I'm sure. I think it's Leon Craig Official on Instagram and Leon Craig 1 on Twitter.
Amazing.
Facebook, I think I'm just Leon Craig, but yeah.
Fair
I
enough.
don't think I use Facebook as much anymore, do you? I don't really use
Yeah,
Facebook as much.
it's Instagram for me all the way. I
Instagram.
love Instagram. But yeah, thank you so much for your time and energy and just your all-round positivity. It's been a pleasure to chat to you today, Leon.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks so much.
Yay! And thank you to everyone that's watched or listened on Spotify, Anchor, all those wonderful places that you get your podcasts. And we'll see you at our next one. Bye!